Okay, so should we start?
Yeah.
Yes.
Nupur is not yet connected.
Yeah, Nupur is struggling.
Struggling with the audio. Okay, anyway, we'll just do a recap. That first session we covered what is yoga. Yoga is basically chitta vritti nirodh. That my connections with my various external objects, entities, attractions, and instead of that, moving that within and finding divinity within yourself. Okay, yoga is joining of me and not external divinity, but within myself. Then we also covered breathing, that you need to start abdominal breathing, spine has to be straight, some basics we covered. And we did Omkar. Did you get chance to practice Omkar the way I had told?
Yes.
That right from the Muladhar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now we'll start with Sukshma Kriya, Sukshma Yoga, where this is about joints. Now, why do we do this? Because we are going to use Padmasana, and Padmasana is not easy for everybody at this age. So, some of these things will give you practice for doing Padmasana. So, yeah.
Sorry, Parag, we have not done the Kapalbhati this morning.
Yeah, it is to be done. Sukshma Yoga is before starting Omkar and Kapalbhati, etc.
Okay.
You can start it before. So, these joints, you are getting ready basically. Okay, I mean, I have lifted my legs just so that you can see them, but they are to be on your ground, on your mat. Okay, so this maybe 10 times. Then you rotate them once clockwise, once anti-clockwise. So joint related, a lot of problems can get solved with this. Then you pull your legs as close as possible to you and use this butterfly. Now this is an exercise which you should do a lot. This is going to help you do Padmasana much better and comfortably. You can see it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and pull it as close as possible. Okay, then after that, you come to hands. So your wrist, you're pulling your hand as much behind as possible and down. Then, I don't know if you can hear, but I can hear the cut sound while I'm doing this. You could try this if you want. Then the shoulders. Now, shoulders is not only for shoulders, but it is these exercises are going to help your lungs. So you are going to rotate this round like this, from forward to behind, and then the opposite. This sound like simple exercises, but trust me, these will be useful in the long run. Now you hold your shoulder balls like this, and from front, touching your ears, your hand goes back. 5 times, and then you can put 10 times also. And now the opposite direction. Now we come to Brahma Mudra, which is for spine and neck. Okay, so you tighten your neck muscles, stiffen them like this. Can you see? I have stiffened them. And with that stiffness, slowly I move left as much as I can go, slowly right. Okay, now keep your neck completely loose and jerky left right movement. Now your head to your right shoulder and start rolling it. It's not turning, this is rolling. And you keep your eyes closed while doing this, so that you don't feel dizzy. Opposite side. Head on the left shoulder. Go back. Okay, so this is the warm up. Now you can be in Padmasana or you can be in Sukhasana or Ardha. Is Ardha Padmasana at least possible for everybody? Just one leg on the other. Yeah. So now we will do Naman Mudra. Okay, this also can be done before we start our pranayama. Naman Mudra is again what we did for stretching our spine. While breathing in, you take your hands up. Now how do I? Okay, so in general for any asana, when your chest is expanding, you breathe in. When it is contracting, you breathe out. So what we are going to do is, while breathing in, we are going to take hands to all the way to the top. Then we go down like this while breathing out. Down, you can stay there for 10-15 seconds and you don't have to hold your breath. You can keep breathing, then breathe out completely, and then we are going to come up and reverse the thing. So let's start. Breathe in. Stretch. Slowly down, breathing out. If you can, touch your head down and relax in that position. This is an ideal way of doing Naman to any deity or in temple also. Breathe out. Stretch your hand and slowly come up, breathing in. Breathe out. And now your spine is straight. So we do this exercise anyway for keeping our spine straight, that we stretch ourselves. I think this is Parvatasana, and then we come down and relax. Now I'll come to what we did not cover last time, was bandh. There are various bandhs which are controlling prana. Prana, that is the movement of prana in our body. So while doing all the pranayam or pre-pranayam kriyas that we are doing, you are supposed to be holding Mula Bandha. Mula Bandha is your anus, that part you have to contract. Okay, now I do not want you to consciously do it. You just keep in mind that should be there, should not be loose. For a simple reason that if you concentrate on that, then you will not be able to concentrate on our kriyas. But keep in mind that you have to have Mula Bandha on while doing most of the kriyas. By the time we reach up to pranayam, you would have that as practice. Again, I will tell you another exercise connected with Mula Bandh contraction. While sitting position, you can just contract your anus and release, contract, release. This is an excellent exercise to be done while you are driving, while you are sitting somewhere, chatting with people, watching TV. You can do anytime. And this is something which will increase in general your stamina, will solve a lot of issues related to sexual health of or sexual organs, because that is the area where we are not getting any kind of, those muscles don't get any exercise, and even some of the constipation related problems. So you contract, release. What that does is it gives a lot of blood circulation into that area, and there is no limit. You can do anytime, any number of times. and people would not even notice. Okay, so Murubandh, when you do this exercise, keeping Murubandh on will be very easy while doing our Kriyas. Okay, now let's start with Omkar and we'll start with some of the pre-pranayam exercises. So eyes closed, completely breathe out. After 3, we take a break. We do Manas Omkar. Since Bhadresh is new, I'll cover from beginning. It's pitch dark around you, infinite space around you, and I am the only soul here. Dark outside, dark inside me also. At my heart's position, center of my body, center of my chest, there is a diya, a lamp, small lamp, oil lamp that gets lighted. The Garbhagriha that my body is, the whole of it gets filled with the golden mild light of the diya. Try to see it, the better you see, better you will enjoy. So infinite universe around you, maybe some stars at the far distance. And inside me, the diya which is lighting the temple of my body. And from all across the universe, you hear a gunjan, virtual sound of Omkar. Exhale, completely exhale. Fill in. Om. Om. So just to cover again, we start Omkar, the vibrations should start from my Muladhara, lowest point of my spine, and going to the top of my head. While doing so, it lightens up all my chakras. Now, when you do Kapalbhati, you use these two fingers. They cover your pituitary gland area. You are not touching your forehead, but they are pretty close to it. And you use these two fingers for holding your nostril, right, left. So you are going to close your left nostril. Surya Nadi say we do first Kapalbhati 54 times. Breathe out. Completely breathe out. Complete breathe out. Stay there for 2 seconds. And now fill in. And now very slowly, you can't hear your breathing also. Exhale. Very, very slowly. And you feel tremendous calm. Now we close your, if your nostril is choked, I have told you that you can lift it with your fingers. So close your right and with left now we do 54. Left is Chandra Nadi. Completely without. Eyes closed. Breathe in. Fill up. Slowly, very slowly exhale. Non-turbulent. You can imagine ice melting around you. Very cooling and calming experience. As I told in the first session, if you can enjoy this peace and calm, then you are doing these things correctly. Next, we will do Anulom Vilom, or it is also called Nadi Shodhan. Practice with Nadi. So this is practice of Anulom Vilom Pranayam. We can't call this Pranayam because we are not going to hold breath. There is no Udak that is filling, Rechak that is going out. Kapalabhati, we start always with right. Because but while doing Anulom Vilom, we always start with left. So you keep closing your right, slowly breathing 4, 5, 6 seconds, whatever is easy for you. Then close left and so inhale from left, exhale from right. Both same second. Let's say 5 seconds, 5 seconds. Then inhale from right, exhale from left. That completes the cycle. Okay, so you can do 3 now, but ideally 5, 7 when you are practicing at home. We don't have time, so we will try to cover faster. So close your right. Exhale from right. Okay. We'll do next thing, which is Ujjayi. Ujjayi is with friction breathing. When you have cough, you do right? Or you while trying to second. So you are going to contract your throat and do breathing with friction. Okay. Not clear, please ask. So we will do it 3 times. People who need colder places can do more times also. This creates a lot of heat, but this is excellent for your heart health. It can even solve minor blockages and can melt them down. From bottom to abdomen to. While doing this, you have to imagine that cough from your belly area is getting cleared. So this was lower Ujjayi. We will Then next time Madhya Ujjayi and Urdhva Ujjayi also, which will clear cough of your chest and sinus cavities. But right now we'll stop here. Now, when we do Ujjayi, we have to do the counterpart Shitali. Shitali is exactly opposing to this. It will cool down your system. So how you are going to do is, can you see my clenched teeth? Teeth have to be clenched. Maybe I'll come closer. And I push my tongue on my teeth. That way I am reducing the gaps in my teeth, and then I am going to breathe from my teeth. Breathe out from my nose. Third time. Teeth problems will have a lot of benefits from Shitali. Now, while doing Shitali, did you feel cool inside?
Yeah.
Yeah. So because of this structure and because of the small gaps and the air expanding inside, it goes down and it is going over your tongue. So you are letting a cooler air go inside. Okay. There are many more kriyas, but now we'll stop here. We'll do Omkar again. Three Omkar, then Manas Omkar, and then. So I think people are relaxed. They need to straighten by doing this stretch. Yeah, keep the spine straight. So close eyes, breathe out completely. Infinite space. Diya, a light in my heart's within. The center. Heart is at the left, but left side. The temple of my body is in left, right hand. And imagine Omkar Gunjan around you. Breathe out. Shant, don't open your eyes yet. Calm, calm, Shant. You find yourself in a river, water up to your nose. Your eyes are the only part which is above the water. calm, slow moving water. Not a single ripple. You are facing east. Sun is about to rise on the east. The sky becomes reddish golden. As the sun starts showing, you see its reflection all over the water. Slowly water level rises. Be covered. But I still see the golden sun rays. Reddish crimson golden. I close my eyes. But I still see the light. I don't feel the water since it is exactly what it is. Deep calm. Shanti. Peace. Relax. So what we do is, we don't want to lose the static creativity yoga. Rub your hand and now coming to the happiness story. Did you go through all the material that was written? Or should I cover that again?
Can you cover it again, because I'm just
Yeah,
beginning.
sure. So, is getting something happiness? There were questions asked. Is getting something happiness? I had shared one story that to show relative happiness. That a child is born in a prison. He has not seen anything outside, and from childhood he has taken this prison life as a standard life. He has nothing else to know, right? So then he sees that every day the routine is that he may have a hunger for, let's say, 3 rotis, 3 bread. They are given only one. Then every day they are given 10 lashes, whip lashes. It pains, but then that is the regular life. One fine day, what happens is the jailer is happy with this particular boy, and that day instead of 10 he gets 5 lashes, and instead of 1 bread he gets 2 bread, 2 pieces of bread. Now that is still inadequate, but compared to every time he sees that, hey, I'm doing better than anybody else, and he will be of joy that, yeah, I have saved 5 lashes. I have not got 5 lashes which I otherwise would have got. So is that happiness? This is relative. The day he comes out of prison, he would realize that no, the freedom was the true life, and that was relative to that pain. Lesser pain is what I thought was happiness. We took another example that suppose I get urge for, let's say, thirst, hunger, sexual urge, and when I get satisfied, I actually feel good about it. Isn't that happiness? But if that was happiness, like then I took another example that yes, we don't see anyone without urge. we find it difficult, but I'll take example where we see that there are many people without having itch. Someone who has some skin disease and he has some itch on his hand, very bad itching. When he scratches his hand, he feels good. Is it true or not? He feels good. Definitely, that is satisfying him temporarily, just like food is satisfying you temporarily. Would you want to have that disease so that you can satisfy and feel good about it? I don't think so. So similarly, having some urge and satisfying, instead of that, if I had no urge, would be a better position. That is what we try to establish. No one has gone through that. Deepak?
We went through several of your posts and you covered it. And
Yeah. So
Yeah.
any discussion, any question on that?
Not really. I think there were some people who were, when you had it open for everyone, I think they were talking about is happiness.
There was a lot of clutter. Yes, I know that.
Is happiness a state where you have no desire?
Yeah.
Or is happiness, so
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will again give some more examples for relative happiness. People, like for example, happiness that people get by status. It's completely psychological. So I will prove that. That somebody feels that, hey, I have a small old car, and somebody has a, let's say, a Rolls Royce. Rolls Royce is supposed to be, and a person feels bad. He feels depressed that, okay, I mean, when will I get that kind of car? So go back 100 years when people were, the kings used to go in chariot with 4 or 8 horses and all his men. Some of them may be feeling jealous. Some of them may be plotting that if I can kill the king and become king, I can get this. Because they thought that was great. Did king's chariot have an air conditioner? It did not. But relatively, people thought that that was great, and now today my second-hand old car has air conditioner. It cools me. But still, I am feeling, because I am comparing it with something. So this is comparative happiness and not real, true, permanent happiness. Yeah. So
But in this respect, just to take the discussion in this Parag,
yeah,
at one level, one can say if you have been exposed to air conditioning and if you don't have an air conditioner,
correct,
then you will feel miserable. The lack of that will make you feel miserable every time you travel.
correct.
Because
Okay,
you
again,
have
it is
that.
relative. So a farmer who is working in sun, does he enjoy that sun? Not necessarily. But he has said that as like a person in prison. Okay, so once you decide something is normal, then it becomes difficult to go down unless you can understand what you are and the heat is affecting something else and not me. Okay, so we will not come to that. So even today, like first session, I am going to tell you what is not happiness. I am still not going to come to what is happiness because I wanted to go in very small steps. And every stage, my request is that if any single point is not clear, we are going to build on top of that. So without that being clear, we should not move ahead. So you should ask me, you can ask me by private message. I am closing the public message forever now. People can ask me anything and I promise I will respond everyone. But so many people sent me requests that there is a lot of clutter. People are saying, giving their own gyan. And that is creating problem in reading the actual messages. So we have decided to make it admin only. So I'll give you a nicer example, which I did not give there. Okay. So when you eat ice cream, Okay, let us assume all of us like ice cream, some ice cream. If not, you imagine something that you like. How do you know it is ice cream when you put it on your tongue? Your eyes are closed. How do you know it is ice cream? It is sweet. Correct? If it is not sweet, I don't think it is, like, you will call it something else.
Yeah.
It has a particular texture, soft texture. It has particular vanilla, chocolate, some flavor, your favorite flavor. And it is cold. If it was hot, I would call it a hot chocolate. I would not call it ice cream. Correct. So being cold is its property. Ice creams. Sweet is its property. That particular what you can say, flavor is its property. And I feel happy. So I think happiness also must be a property of ice cream. Correct. Because otherwise, how did I feel happy? So now let's take that you are given first ice cream. You gobble it up. You happily have it. Now I give you second ice cream. Okay, good. Yeah, I like it, so I will have it. Third, you would say that, no, yeah, I would prefer to have something else. But then, like, I'm urging you, no, please. This is very good, and I have made it myself, and you take it. Okay, you manage that. Fourth, you don't want it, but you are forced to it. Fifth, sixth, seventh. Now seventh, you are thinking of vomiting. You say, give me chili, but don't give me ice cream. Now, why are you saying don't give me ice cream? Because you still can recognize it is ice cream. Because it is cold, because it is sweet, and it has that particular flavor. So in all its stages, its qualities were there, but now happiness is not associated with it. Now you have, you can say, a repulsive feeling towards it. So if happiness was its quality, it would have been in all its stages, all throughout. So similarly, so when I want, let's say, experience something which is cold, then that coldness should be its property. Sweet should be property. If I want to have fragrance of rose, then I should either have a perfume, rose perfume, or an actual rose. If I give you a lot of diamonds, that may be really a very expensive set of diamonds, but that is not going to do your job. So if you want something which is blue, you need to experience something of which quality is blue, which is maybe sky, maybe some other blue color, blue deep water. If you want something which has a particular taste, you have to experience something that has that taste. Similarly, if you want happiness, true happiness, then you have to experience an object of which quality is happiness. All other happiness is going to be relative, comparative, or lack of something. Like as I said that in one of the examples, that you are having a bad headache, you have a migraine, and you take a painkiller. Is your migraine problem solved? It is not solved. For 8 hours, you have suppressed your pain, which is going to come back. Same happens about your hunger. Same happens about any of your urge, lust for money, or anything that does not get satisfied. So, like a painkiller, you are suppressing something, and it is coming because. And then what I feel is, because that pain is such a suffering that compared to that, I feel good, and I tend to give it a name of happiness. That is what I'm calling as fictitious. If you see the title of today's thing, that Sukshma Yoga and fictitious happiness. So this is fictitious happiness. This is not true happiness. If I want true happiness, as I said, I am not going to tell you today that what object is it, because slowly it has to dawn upon you, and you have to actually see that object and feel really happy. Like the happiness, I mean, it just cannot contain in you. I mean, just talking about it, just thinking about it makes me so happy. So, yeah. So, but is it true? I mean, you have not experienced it before. Why should you believe that there is some such happiness? Correct. So when I was experimenting, when I was learning, when I thought I got my first experience, when I learned that at a time I can know only one object. Object of my knowledge has to be only one thing, and So when I say I'm parallel processing, I'm listening to music and I'm doing some study. It is not true. I'm switching between this and that very fast, and it is definitely reducing my capabilities. But at a time when I'm knowing something, I do not know anything else. I used to give this example that when we used to go by local from Mumbai to between Sion and Matunga, there are people who sit on the tracks for toilet. If you look at them, the experience is bad. It is ugly. And if you look in the sky and watch birds flying, then you don't even know this is happening. So I did these experiments that when I am trying to experience myself, I'm in meditation. I've tried giving touching with a very hot object, which is not permanent damaging, but painful enough to see if I'm getting pain. Like for example, lighting a match and immediately touching it. So for those 4 or 5 seconds when I am completely stable in my meditation, I would not feel that pain. But again, why would you believe that? This could be a story. That is where I had once written in our meditation group that proof of spirituality. Now, what is this proof of spirituality? That we talk about happiness, we talk about true happiness, which is independent of anything happening outside me. Is it really possible? So what had happened was, in bathroom, I was trying to, like before taking bath, I was taking my t-shirt up. So my face was covered. I was completely blind. And I think there was some soap or some soapy liquid below my feet. I slipped and I had a very bad fall. I could not balance also because my eyes are covered. And there is a small steel stool made up of stainless steel in my bathroom. My chest banged on it and it was a very bad. For a few seconds, I was kind of passed out. And when I came to, my 2 ribs were fractured. My nose was bleeding. My elbows were hurt. My knees were paining. And there was some blood from my hand. Something must have scratched. So for a few days, I spent very painful time. So, unlike other fractures, when you have rib fracture, rib cannot be plastered because these are kind of flexible things. So when you breathe, it pains. When you cough, it pains more. When you hiccup, it pains even more. Any jerk and you are going to feel a lot of pain. With that, I have this pain in my nose. With that, I have pain elsewhere in my body. So I had asked people that now if you want a proof of spirituality, you can come and visit our house. And even in this condition, talk to me about spirituality and you will find out exactly same expression, same happiness, at least for the time that we are in that subject. Now, how is it possible? Can I keep acting like that forever? That is not possible. So you can say that like at a time when I'm knowing an object of which basic property is happiness, then whatever condition outside, whether I have gained money, whether I have lost money, whether I have, so we all go through various ups and downs, right? That we go through grief, we lose some people, we get something, we have a new member in family that gives us elation, happiness. This happiness of object of which the property is happiness is permanent, whether there is flood outside, whether there is pain in the body, or whether I get money or lose money. People usually fear spirituality because they think that after doing this, maybe I'll stop enjoying my physical material life. It doesn't so happen. I mean, of very, very, very few saints. I mean, don't go by the number of saints that we have. The true saints are very, very few in number. As I would put it, that for a saint to qualify as saint, he should not have a bank account also. He should not have Aadhaar card. He should not have passport. No possessions. He is fully in his own joy. Why? I will tell you that. Because, and I'll also tell you another thing about a fictitious happiness. So when I was child, I used to think getting something was great happiness. This is the best thing. Then when I started rock climbing, I used to climb without ropes. I would go on the top. You are going through life and death situation. So it's a tense time. After that, you are alone on the top. It is only the sky, deep valley below you, and mountains and greenery. Somehow that felt so great. I used to think this is the greatest joy. If to add that to that, if there is a waterfall that you can listen to, I used to think this is the greatest happiness in life. Then later on, I took to classical music. I attended one concert, Kishori Amonkar's Alaiya Bilawal. And when I came out, I was so thrilled. I told my mama, my uncle, that it's okay if I die now. I've got the best happiness in my life. Was it best? And later on, I came to know that these were happiness which had start and end. These were the happinesses which were not permanent. And there is a greater happiness. Now, how do I know this is great happiness? So what happens is, most human beings would have some bruises on their heart. Their mind has some pain somewhere, something in subconscious. So when you go to any kind of meditation program, whether it is transcendental, whether it is some kind of Raj Yoga, some kind of any kind of true or pseudo meditation, that is going to make you feel calm, give you peace. Sometimes you will get goosebumps, and you may mistake it for the final true happiness. Some people would listen to sounds, musical sounds. Some may see light or lightning. There was a person who told me that after meditation, his neck would start ticking. And there were ticks. But all these are physical experiences. Sound is a physical experience. Light is a physical experience. And this experience cannot be called. So how do we know that somebody has a true experience? So I would give an example that suppose you are alone and you are eating from a restaurant across your road. You are staying, and across the road there is some restaurant where you go every time. Sometimes you get stones. Sometimes taste is okay, sometimes it is not okay. And you are paying 100 rupees for a meal. Occasionally you get an insect also, you have to remove and eat your food. You're not exactly happy about it. So someday someone tells you that walk half a kilometer in this alley and there is a small restaurant there. You get absolutely clean food, 50 rupees. It is tasty also. It is cheaper, it is cleaner, and it is tastier. So you will enjoy it, correct? Now I enjoy it. Would I be seen after enjoying that if I'm again seen going to this restaurant and eating dirty food? Then I really have not enjoyed that taste. And so this lakshan is important, that somebody who has actually enjoyed the true happiness is seen to be amassing land and property and helicopters and vehicles and all that. Then you should definitely doubt the authenticity of a saint, because if he has true happiness, why would he be going to a dirty place where when he has found a much better place to enjoy? It may so happen sometimes that due to laziness, you may sometimes go to this restaurant across the road, but still stretch and try to go to the place where you get a better food at a lower price. So when you actually have experienced the self, when you have experienced the true happiness, let's not call it self, we have to establish it is going to be self. And our rule was not to assume anything, and we go on building that me and the body is not separate and all. We are not going to assume that. We will start proving it as we go through the sessions. So after experiencing true happiness, you should see this lakshan. So when I say that light speed is the highest speed a matter can achieve, it's not just a line. It is supported with a lot of experiments and theory. Similarly, when I say that so and so is a true experience, it has to be supported with a lot of logical and experiential proof. So was the ice cream example? I think it was pretty clear, but people can now ask questions.
Parag.
Yeah.
Does the extreme fear you get into a situation where you
Hmm.
get into the extreme fear. It's almost like a fear of death.
Correct.
Because I had such experience because having this hobby of going to forest,
Correct.
in
Correct.
early days when I used to go to forest, and there are times we used to sit on a tree whole night to watch tiger.
Hmm.
When I saw the first time, I was so much afraid.
Right.
I was frozen and I don't know how whole night passed. I lost even a sense of time.
Time. Correct.
So
So,
the extreme fear
hmm,
of death
hmm,
give you, experience of loss of time or some kind of a meditation.
yeah, it gives you unhappiness basically, and of course, loss of time. So many extreme pain also can give you loss of time.
Yeah,
If you are being tortured, a few seconds will feel like you are tortured for 1 hour.
right.
Yeah, yeah. So that time perception changes, but fear is something which is again out of uh, the understanding, my understanding that I will perish, and every living being wants to sustain, and that's a natural instinct given to all living beings, right from the smallest of viruses to human beings to the giant animals, that they want to preserve themselves. So that is natural feedback mechanism. If you had no fear, people would destroy themselves. But the fear you will start losing once you realize that, once you start exploring and understanding who am I and who am I not. So in first session we talked about who am I, importance of who am I. That was clear, right?
I need to recap that. This is the
Okay.
first
In
session I'm
in
attending.
short, basically that we gave example of Sunil Gavaskar story. When he was born, his mama came and he said, "Hey, our boy has changed. He was 3 days baby. Our boy had a small hole in the ear, a birthmark."
Right.
And then they checked. So previously he had come and you must have seen that. And then they checked and they found the right baby. Babies got exchanged while they were bathing them.
Right.
So before this happened, our cricketer's mother would have showered all her love to the wrong baby.
Right.
She would have said, "God, give my ears to him. Give me his pain. Give my best to him." If doctor told that to save that kid, you will require so much money that you have to sell your house, they would have sold their house.
Right.
But after the exchange, I don't think the whole family of Gavaskar has ever checked what happened to the other wrong baby, who was some fisherwoman's son. Okay, so was the love she showered a fake love? No, it was not. But it was on a wrong thing. And as soon as I came to know what is not mine, my attraction, my happiness associated with it got lost. Second example we took was that I am driving home and my wife's birthday is there. I'm looking at flower shops. And then they announce on the radio that so and so society, a building in the center has caught fire. My God, that looks like my building. I'm tense. So I call. I call my home number. Nobody picks up. I call mobile. It is out of coverage area. So now I'm tense. I start driving faster. I even forget the signal lights. I start praying fervently. It is cool. My car is air conditioned, but I'm perspiring. And I'm praying that God, let nothing happen to my family, my kid, my wife. So, and then there is an announcement that the building number 4, which was on fire, now fire brigade has reached. And you say, oh, mine is 5. And you are relaxed again. Still a building is on fire. Some people are at risk, but you will even stop for the flower shop. Okay, why? Because it was not mine. So the whole point of thing was that whole my happiness and unhappiness was connected to what is mine and what is not mine. And what is mine can be determined only if I know who am I. The third example we gave was that you have spent all your life spendings in buying a land. Okay, you bought it online. And now when you go there, you know that there is a north half and there is a south half. and there is a dispute. The guy claims that no, north is yours, and you think north is yours. Now, which is your side? There is a case in the court. Will you be able to develop on the land before? And you need to develop because you have spent all money and you have to develop and sell. Otherwise, your mortgage and everything is going to eat you up. So you need to do. Will it be a low priority for you to settle that case? It will be highest priority that I want to know which is my land. Similarly, I was saying that for us human beings, it is of highest importance to settle who am I. Unless I do that, whatever I'm building on top of my current thought, if it is as wrong as the Gavaskar baby, then my whole efforts may go waste. So for us, it should be highest priority that to settle the answer to who am I. Yeah.
Got that.
So the
you're
first
saying-
session video has been uploaded. You can check that in the group.
Okay, fine. I will check it today.
Yeah.
So you are saying that we need to question things at very source level first and get clear whether source is in place and then
Yeah.
build on it.
Correct.
Right now, the way life is that we don't know what is the source, and some automatic sources in place on which we are keep building our life.
Or some thought, some misconception also.
Yeah.
So about fear, like when I'm walking from in some area, I see a tiger.
Right.
I'm completely scared. I'm running. The day I realized that, but there is a bulletproof glass between the tiger and my area. Then I may just lean on that tiger wall along with the tiger. I will have no fear. So this having correct understanding is something which will reduce my fears, increase my happiness, reduce. So what promise yesterday when in session I made, I need to make it here also, that if you're following this, we are not going to assume anything. We are not. That is what my precondition here was, right? That we are not going to start with religion. We are not going to assume God. We are not going to assume Atma or soul. We are going to build it slowly. If you follow it sincerely without prejudice, then by the end of this course, you will see the greatest happiness you have seen before. And even otherwise, if it doesn't happen to that extent, your in general stress levels and ability to cope up with stresses or positive or negative things and getting blood pressure due to tension, those things will definitely, that is something I can guarantee by just taking up the course, not so sincerely also. But if you follow it sincerely, go all the steps, the stories that I write, you actually think over the week. Because when you think about these stories over the week, okay, I may be putting some craziest of the stories, some unbelievable stuff. You have to think about it. Because I want it to take root in your subconscious and build. And when I am actually explaining and giving the answers, the conviction would be much better. And if it builds that way, then I can assure you that you can see the divinity inside you.
Right. Thanks. Got that whole context that you are putting in place.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to that, Parag.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but my request is that that the text is not time pass text. I'm putting a lot of, none of it is taken from any book. These stories I have made up so that I can help people. Okay, like I did that exercise about spaces. Remember that a paragraph without spaces. Okay, so that experiment was to tell you that you need these spaces to make reading easier. So I had written a paragraph with no spaces in between, and reading was so difficult. And I said that these spaces, like meditation, are required for your life to become less stressful. So there will be many experiments that will be tried. And I don't know how we are going to fit them in 1 hour here onwards. But let us try.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, because people wanted yoga also and this also combined. Or maybe we need to alternate after a certain time, because our yoga kriyas also are going to increase. That one session on yoga and one session on spirituality. We will have to like that. Yeah.
Great.
So anything else? Any questions? Any doubts? And throughout the session, these sessions, apart from this, you may have any question, any kind, or even like saying that no, what you are saying is nonsense, you want to say. You can say that to me in person, not in the group. Group we are closing for all public comments, so that I can address that and without disturbing people in the group. I think that is okay, right, Deepak?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
no, that is absolutely
It
fine.
absolutely.
I think that's the right approach. Yeah.
No. Otherwise, there are too many conversations and things
Yeah,
get
and people
defocused.
come with some prejudices, and then
It dilutes the
and then
whole
this
focus.
purpose, my purpose of building it from zero.
Yeah,
So what was our only assumption, if you remember, that every living being wants to be happy. We are starting only on that. Have we talked about anything new, like Atma and spiritual things? No, we are saying I need to know who am I. I have assumed that there is something called as I that exists. That's it. Okay, so what is it? Is my body me, part of me, partially me? And what is the structure of this whole thing? We will start building. You will enjoy being logical people. You will definitely enjoy this journey.
yeah, and it's important that the entire thought process and conversations are directed. Okay,
Correct.
otherwise, if everyone starts pitching in their thoughts, it gets
Yeah.
cluttery, and when it gets cluttery, then it gets difficult to get to that
Yeah. So some
clarity.
people said that is why we did not read everything, because it became too much.
Yeah.
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 So since we are closing, every closing has to happen with Omkar again.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's set on yourself. We do Omkar, single Omkar, and then we will close the session. Breathe out completely. Breathe in. Okay, so when you are doing it at home, all these kriyas, Omkar to Omkar, okay, while doing Sukshma Yoga, you don't need to close your eyes, but Omkar to Omkar, everything has to be with closed eyes. You need to have that energy retained, and you start with first Omkar, then do Kapalbhati and other things, and last Omkar. In this whole process, you are not going to open your eyes. Okay, and ideally twice a day you can practice, otherwise at least once a day, because unless your breathing has become streamlined, you are not going to be able to go to the pranayam level. It is not going to do benefit unless it is streamlined. Okay, so Badresh, you can go through
Sure, I'll go
the
through.
recording, because a lot of things about nadis, etc. was covered in the previous.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah.
That was awesome, and thanks for putting this whole thing together and giving us the whole new access. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much, Parag.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.